Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANS Gear. We're going to look at a tank accessory today, which is kind of like I guess it's like a tank accessory. This is the new DTS regulator. This is their dial throttle system. So this is their newest reg for their tanks. It's got a lot of bullet point features to it. It's a nice new regulator. We'll open it up and kind of look at it. It comes in this cool box, slides out, reg sitting inside of there, so no like janky plastic bags or anything like that. You can pop this thing out. You're going to get your reg right here. You're going to get a instruction manual on how to install it, how to disassemble it, kind of a thing. And then underneath this, you do get a little parts kit. It's got some extra screws and then all the O-rings you would need for the gun. For the regulator. Just used to saying gun. So, tank reg itself. Standard thread on the top, one O-ring on the top. Thread on the bottom, one O-ring on the bottom. It comes with all the O-rings on it already. It has a new micro gauge on it, and they've said that this micro gauge is near perfect accuracy, which kind of sounds silly together. Near perfect doesn't make much sense, but what they're trying to say is the gauge reads as accurate as possible, because we all know that micro gauges of this size tend to be terrible when they read pressures. So this one is going to read right on, and it's going to pick that pressure up really, really quick and be accurate right from the beginning. So that's nice. It's nice to have a small gauge that actually works. Standard burst discs, a 1.8 and a 7.5. That's pretty standard fare. The fill nipple right here does have a filter in it. I don't know if you can see the filter in there. That'll help keep oil, water, dirt, paint, whatever happens to be around it from getting in to the valve assembly. Now, it's always a good idea to have a cover on your fill nipple, even when you're not playing, just because who knows what's going to be in your bag. But especially while you're playing, if you're getting shot with paint and paint's getting jammed into your fill nipple, and then you hook up the hose to it and just blow that paint right into your valve, bad things are going to happen. It's going to stop working, or it's going to just reduce the longevity of your regulator. So be careful with that. Always keep it covered when you're not playing, and definitely when you are playing. The reg bonnet right here, two set screws on opposite sides of each other. That's pretty standard for regs these days. But the cool thing about this one is it's adjustable. It's very similar in adjustability to the Ninja Pro V2 regs, but it does it in a different way. If we back these set screws off, we can take them out completely. And we can unscrew the bonnet. You can see the bonnet unscrews very easily and very quickly. The way it backs itself up, it climbs very fast. There's 6 different start positions on the threads. So we can back it up, and we'll back it up past where it would normally stop and click. And then it dropped into the next set of start threads. And then when we thread it in, it's actually turned about 60 degrees from where it was before. So the base, or the gas block, is now in a different position to where the bonnet screwed onto it. So this was helpful if you screw this into your gun, or you screw this onto your tank, and you put your tank on your gun, and either your fill nipple or your gauge is digging into your wrist or to your arm, your hand, wherever you're happening to hold it. You can adjust that. You can back it up, go to the next start position, and then screw it back together. And now you've adjusted where these two pieces are. So they call it gauge adjustability, or you can put your gauge in a new spot. You're not really putting the gauge in a new spot. You're controlling where the bonnet sits on the gas block and creating a different position for the gauge to sit in. So it's a pretty cool little design there. And it's nice that the threading that they used is a very aggressive thread, so it moves quickly, so you're not just standing there spinning the bonnet over and over again to get it off. And you can see that, well, hopefully you can see, it might be hard to see, there's a bunch of little holes. These holes are where the set screw is going to go in, and it's actually a recessed little divot for the screw to sit in. What this is going to help with is if, let's just say, you forgot to tighten the bonnet properly, the screw into the bonnet, it's going to have a harder time for this bonnet to back itself up if that screw is actually in a little divot rather than if it was just on a flat surface. So again, it's another thing that's going to help keep the bonnet from wanting to back itself up and move positions on you. The piston, we can pull it out. Now they say that these are captured shims, meaning that when I pull the piston out, that the shims should stay in place and they shouldn't fall over or move out of the way. When I first disassembled this one, this bottom set of shims did fall off, and you can see that it does slide off relatively easy. I'm not really trying too hard right there, but this bottom O-ring does help keep the shims in place. Well, that's not the only thing that it does. It makes the regulator work properly, but it does also help keep the shims from falling off when it's upside down. So that makes servicing a little bit easier. When you pull the piston out, you're not worried about the shims flopping out or falling over. In any way that you do it, though, you should always pull them out slowly and look to see where they are. See if you've left any inside of there, because you never know what's going to happen. So, want to do that. One thing I will tell you, though, the ball reg seat at the bottom, it is not replaceable. There is no pass-through from the top through to the bottom where you can pop the ball out and replace the ball. So if your reg seat ever does go bad, you'll need to replace the piston to solve that problem. Drop that in there, just standard spring for our valve. Now the valve assembly inside of here is a balanced valve, so what that's going to do for you is it's going to create a consistent output pressure regardless of what tank pressure is. So if you've got a full fill, you're going to get a standard output pressure. The output pressure is a mid-pressure output, so I'd say these are probably right around the 5 to 650, somewhere in there. They say mid-pressure, they don't actually give us an exact reading of pressure, so mid-pressure. So if your tank's super full, you're going to get that pressure. As the tank drops down, you're still going to get the same output pressure until the pressure inside your bottle actually goes lower than what the reg is set to output. Then you would see a drop in pressure. But until that point, consistent, accurate pressure output through the regulator. So that's cool. Cool feature for that. Let me put these back together. We will we'll throw this on the scale. We'll weigh it for you real quick so you can get a weight, and then we'll be done. It's a pretty lightweight, just from it being in my hand is nice and light. You pull both of these off because you're not going to have those on there. All right, so we're at zeros. So is that 4 ounces? Pretty light. When it comes to regulators, I think that's almost the same weight as the ultralight regulator. So a very, very lightweight reg. Very, very intuitive, simple design, easy to use, lots of features, which is super cool for the regulator. So check them out. If you're in the market to pick up a new reg and you want to try something a little different, you know it's going to work. Obviously, it's a dye product, so it's going to work just fine. Check these DTS regs out. They're available through the website. Order yours now through ansgear.com.